Hello, viewers, and welcome back. Whatever kind of year you had planned in January, we think it's safe to say it's turned out very differently than you expected. Because the coronavirus pandemic is far from over, restrictions are gradually being lifted and, in some cases, reinstated around the world. On top of that, we're now in the grip of a recession. Unemployment is increasing, businesses are closing, and stock prices are volatile. And, regrettably, the recession is just getting started. But let us not lose hope, because we hope that today's video will provide you with some practical survival skills to help you get through these difficult times and thrive to come out even stronger than before in our careers, finances, and in ourselves. And remember that the solution to adversity is not to wallow in despair, but to take action. Hello and welcome to this channel, the place where future billionaires go to be inspired. You're missing out if you haven't already subscribed. So, with 15 ways to prepare for a recession, let's find out how. 1. Cut your spending. The first stage in preparing for difficult circumstances is to invest appropriately. That means you should limit your spending on non-essential items. Do you have any subscriptions that you don't use? Remove them immediately. Ones that you use but do not require. Think about it carefully. Membership to a gym. Maybe lockdown taught you how well you can do your house exercises, and you should think about getting rid of that one as well. Dining, excursions, and holidays. Sure, you still need to treat yourself now and then, and your opportunities to do so have most likely been limited in recent months. But don't go insane if you abruptly find yourself able to do them with lockdown off. Keep an eye on your spending and don't go overboard. 2. Get budgeting. Making and sticking to a budget is the foundation of having your personal money in order. And if you don't keep account of what you spend your money on, you're undoubtedly wasting a lot of it. So keep track of your expenditures, establish goals for yourself, and do your best to meet them. A 50/30/20 division is usually suggested. That equates to a 50% discount on essentials such as rent or mortgage, phone, internet, other utilities, groceries, medical expenses, and insurance. You get the idea. Spend 30% of your budget on desires, amusement, pastimes, trips, and vacations. And 20% on savings and assets for difficult periods like this one. If possible, swap the second and third figures and make it 20% for a single instance. Increase the number for savings and assets to 30% or greater if possible. You should place this money into an emergency reserve. 3. Set up an emergency fund. Having cash on hand for crises is a must in any economy, but it is especially important during a crisis. You never know when catastrophe will hit. In a recession, the possibilities of being laid off or having your job dried up increase, which is why you should have enough money in the bank to last you at least 3 months if you're out of work. And, if at all feasible, 6 is preferable. You'll know how much you need for fundamental survival requirements if you've done your budgeting. Determine what you'll need for the next 3 months and continue to save until you have it. And, as previously stated, if you can keep going until you're covered for 6 months, even better. Once you've got 3 to 6 months of emergency funds, you can start putting the remainder into investments that will help you flourish after the crisis. And we'll get to that shortly. 4. Pay off your debts. If you have obligations and can pay them off right now, this should be your top goal. A few months down the road, you may find yourself in a financial bind, and making the minimal installments may become difficult. And falling behind on these could lead to issues that worsen, such as increasing debts and a poor credit report. So pay off your obligations now and you'll be grateful later. If you have several obligations, arrange them according to their interest rates. Pay off the ones with the highest interest rates first. If you have a credit card, chances are it's your first goal to get rid of it because the interest rates are exorbitant. And needless to say, once you've gotten rid of your debt, unless it's absolutely necessary, don't take on any more. 5. If you can't pay off your debt, look into debt release. Some lenders provide debt deferral or forbearance alternatives. Find out what alternatives are accessible by contacting your bank or lender. However, consider this a short-term plan because that is exactly what it is. Bankers may be nice to you for a while, but they'll want their money returned sooner or later. Also, if you have outstanding credit, you may be able to transfer credit card debt to zero-interest credit. Getting out of debt is the preferable choice, but if that isn't feasible, at least investigate your options. 6. Set up a high-interest account. This is where you'll keep your backup money. It won't be the most profitable option on the list, but when times are difficult, every little amount helps. Normal bank accounts pay close to 0% interest, so look for a high-interest savings account. There will be some demand, but it will not be overwhelming. Perhaps more importantly, keeping your emergency funds in a distinct bank account will help you avoid the urge to dip into them when you don't need to. 7. Prove how valuable you are in your workplace. We admit that this is presuming you still have an employment. If you don't, there's plenty of information below. Even if your workplace is still secure in a recession, things can alter at any time. So demonstrate your worth. Take on tasks, acquire new skills, and put them to use. Make an additional effort. When jobs are reduced, you will be in a stronger situation to retain yours. Even if you're unlucky, you'll be able to put everything you've done and all the skills you've acquired on your CV, putting you in a stronger situation to find a new employment. 8. Start a side hustle in a downturn. The advantages are multiplied. First and foremost, it will provide you with some additional money in addition to your regular job. Second, if your 9-to-5 is disrupted, it will provide you with a backup plan. And the good news is that starting a side business has never been simpler. Ideally, you should discover something in which you have a strong interest or aptitude. Something you used to do as a pastime could work now that you're making money from it. Perhaps you've had this in mind as a freelancer for years, but I've never made that move. The moment has come. If you have a specialized talent in any field, you could start earning money right away by offering tutoring classes in it. And, in most instances, this can be done via teleconference. As a longer-term endeavor, you could create a journal or a YouTube account that you could eventually monetize. If you're not positive what you're capable of, check out sites like Fiverr and Upwork to see what types of freelancing tasks are in demand. You could also attempt selling items on Etsy or designing and selling t-shirts on Teespring. Simply begin your search and you'll be amazed at the options that emerge. 9. Get new skill sets. We discussed how to make yourself more useful at work, and learning new job-related skills and credentials, such as increasing your Excel skills, picture, video editing, or computer skills, or whatever is pertinent in your field of work, is a wonderful way to do so. We've also discussed starting a secondary business. Of course, contractors with more developed skill sets and certificates make more than those with basic skill sets, and with micro-credentials becoming increasingly popular, often at very reasonable rates, upgrading your skills has never been simpler. This will also benefit you in the long run because you will retain these abilities for the rest of your life. 10. Get networking. If you've been laid off or your working hours have been decreased, this is a useful way to spend your time. Even if you haven't, it's still a wonderful thing to do. Are you thinking about changing careers? Talk to experts in that area about how to break into it. Do you want to work for a separate company? Speak with those who already work there. Or if you start a secondary business, speak with contractors who have done it before to see if you can learn from them. Show yourself as knowledgeable, passionate, and eager to learn. When they learn about an opportunity, they'll be more apt to contact you. 11. Keep your CV updated. If you're following the advice on this list, you'll be learning new skills and taking on new challenges. Make sure to include all of them on your resume and maintain it up to date. In these fast-paced times, when you're continually on the lookout for new chances, opportunities can arise at any point. Respond to them quickly by providing your most recent CV, and maintain your LinkedIn page up to date. 12. Consider changing your living situation. If you're in a crunch when it comes to money, there are a number of options you can consider here. Of course, if you're renting, you could consider relocating somewhere less costly. And, if you own your home or if your lease as a tenant permits it, consider hiring a roommate. Owners can get a cash infusion by remortgaging their house or taking out a home equity credit. However, only if truly essential. And, in the worst-case situation, you could lose your home if you don't talk with an expert with solid credentials. 13. Keep on investing. If you regularly put money into long-term investments, you might be hesitating right now. It's normal to believe that investing is the last thing you should do during a crisis. You're wondering if the equity market will continue to decline. Shouldn't I wait until equities have reached rock bottom before buying again? The expert counsel is to simply continue investing as normal. Remember that every decline in history has been succeeded by a long-term upswing. The stock market recovers to greater levels than ever before, rewarding those who continue to spend. Let's take a peek at the 2008 Great Depression. Investors who started putting $50 per month in a S&P 500 fund 2 years ago, when equities were at an all-time low, would have earned $12,000 in total profits by March 2018. And how about attempting to time it so that you sell just as the market is about to decline and purchase just as it is about to rise? Even for experienced investors, this is extremely difficult, and if you try it, you will almost certainly fail miserably. So the most secure plan is to continue investing as normal. 14. Diversify your investments. Unless you're an expert investor, you're not going to want to bet huge amounts of money on one stock. When it comes to the financial market, the adage "don't place all your eggs in one basket" is particularly accurate. If you lack expert trading abilities, put the majority of your money in stock portfolios such as index tracking funds rather than individual companies. This is true all the time, but it is particularly true during recessions when the stock market is extremely volatile. 15. Take a long-term approach to investing. If you want to grow your long-term income, you should play the term game. Perhaps one of your assets dropped 20% in a week. Perhaps the entire equity market tanked, negatively impacting your index fund. However, experience shows that the financial market will recover all of its losses. So resist the urge to monitor your stock's results every day. Check it once a week at most unless you're doing risky short-term transactions, which we don't suggest unless you really know what you're doing. It will save you stress and effort, and you will have confidence in the stock market's long-term upward trend. And with that, we have arrived at the conclusion. We understand that everyone's circumstance is unique. Different individuals have varying fears and anxieties about how the recession will impact them. So, what do you believe will be the most difficult challenges in the future months and years? Tell us in the comments. And, as an added bonus, remain healthy and secure. We've left this as an extra because we believe it should be self-evident, but based on what we've seen lately in the news and what's going on around us, a lot of people still need it to be pointed out. We are all aware that the coronavirus is the primary reason of this decline. And, presumably, we're all conscious that it remains a major threat. And being unable to work affects your ability to keep your employment, start a side business, update your abilities, and generally be in charge of your money and career. And, because we're all in this together, let's just remember that the more people who disregard medical advice, believe they're impervious, and gather in packed bars to enjoy the end of lockdown, the worse the situation will become for all of us. So, as long as the virus is a danger, follow the counsel of those who know the most, for your own sake and the sake of everyone else. Societal separation. Avoid congested areas. Wear a mask if this is impractical and you can't remain 2 meters apart. Alright, we'll end here. You've heard it a million times, and you don't need us to tell you again. Protect your well-being and your capacity to maintain control. And remember to remain secure. Thank you for taking the time to visit with us. Make sure to like and follow so you don't lose out on any future videos. We also selected these videos for you to view next. Thank you for being an objective observer. We'll see you again soon.